Welcome to Dog on the Plot. I'm Kerry. Dory's having her breakfast, and that's because it's early on Saturday morning. And what I wanted to do for this week is a real vloggy vlog. You know, we've had a couple of what to sow type videos and things like that, and I thought let's just have a proper vlog episode. And what's more vloggy than a day in the life? So it's a day in the life of Dog on the Plot. It's Saturday the 1st of February, can't believe it's February, and we've got so much to do. I've got such a long to-do list. So we've got stuff to do in the garden, the front garden, which we haven't been to in ages. Well, I mean, I go through it every day, but I haven't filmed in the front garden for the vlog for absolutely ages. So we'll check in there. We'll go down to the allotment. We've got a lot of jobs for the allotment too. Yeah, there's plenty to be cracking on with on this Saturday. However, it's still early, and what I like to do when I've got my cup of tea is just have a little wander around the garden first thing and see what's popping up and what's happening. Now, to be totally honest with you, at this time of year, before I'm heading out into the garden, I am absolutely taking the lids off of these things and looking what my seedlings are doing. So I'm going to do that next. And actually, I think this is going to be the first job for the to-do list. Some of these things need potting on, and I need to expand the germination station that is going on here. So while it's pretty dull and cold and dark outside, I'll do this, and then we'll head out into the garden. So let's have a look. So if I just take away the grow lights, there we go. And now the little tub is here because these ones were getting a little bit tall and I didn't want the lights scorching them. So I was just lifting the lights slightly away from these particularly big ones, which are the Serrano. So those are, oh, there's only 2 of those actually. So those 2 definitely need potting on. In fact, these 2 here are sweet peppers, and that one. So those are the ones that were sown later. They were only sown on the 18th of January, whereas these, I believe, yeah, the 8th of January for the chilies. So I'm going to pot on all the chilies that have come up, but some haven't. They're in this one. So these ones are fine because these are aubergines. Look at that though. Look at the Turkish orange aubergine. They have come up so quickly. But this one was chilies, and none of those have come up, and they were Portugal, early jalapeno and hot wax. So what I think I'll do is re-sow all the ones that didn't come up. So those ones, plus Big Jim didn't come up, did he? No, there was no Big Jim. So I'm going to do a few more of those as well. But all the ones that have come up, I'm going to pot on into cells. What else have we got here? So the Cape gooseberries and the tomatillos, they're fine. They'll take a while yet. But I did think I thought the cucumbers would come up by now. So I've been inspired by Jessie at Plot 37 for this one. And she said hers came up like within practically minutes, but no, nothing on those yet. And then right at the end here, we've got some sowings that I only did last weekend but have come up super quick. Those are lettuces, those are cabbages and cauliflowers, nothing on the spinach yet though, and those are all the mustards. How quickly the mustards come up. But yeah, nothing on the spinach yet, nothing on the herbs, and nothing on the onions. Right, I've just prepared a tray then. I've filled it with multi-purpose compost, and there's some perlite mixed into there. In fact, it's the same mix as I used for the seedlings. And I'm going to prick these out and put them into their individual cells now. These are 4 centimetre by 4 centimetre. And when I was just in the greenhouse picking a tray, I was a bit like, Is that too big? Should I go smaller? Anyway, I've lumped for this, so they're potentially going to be in here for a little while. So let's take the biggest first. Now I've got 2 of these. I sowed 3 of each seed. I've got 2 of these serrano ones. Let's put it down there. Some little mushrooms have been growing in the pots as well. Okay, here we go. Let's see how this goes. The compost is fairly moist, and I'm going to hold on to one of the true leaves and just tease the roots out. So these were the first ones that popped up, and then the biggest. There we go, there's the root. Oh, that's beautiful. Very good. So I'm going to make a really deep hole right down to the bottom of the cell, and quite wide, because this has got a nice root system on it, because I want to try and get the chili seedling as deep down into there as possible, so that I can bury as much of the stem as I can to stop them being too leggy. That's pretty good. I'm just going to really gently fill in the soil around it. Try not to press too close to the stem. The last thing you want to do is break the stem. Okay, even if it remains a little bit leggy, that's better than breaking the stem. So same again for the other one. I've already written some new labels because I want to try and keep everything labeled. Okay, so there we go, holding by the true leaf. In it goes, push it right down, and then fill in round. Now stand up tall. There we go. Okay, a little bit wonky, but not bad. It will straighten up. So now I'm going to do that with all the chilies that have got true leaves, even if they're very tiny. This isn't the most promising looking seedling, and there's only one of them. This is red ricotto. But if I've got one seedling, I'm going with it. So only those ones where nothing has come up, or it's a really poor looking seedling that has come up, I'm going to resow. So we'll do these first, and then we'll look at what needs resowing. There we go. So I think I've got 20 chilies there. Oh, I needed to write the Mr. label, one for a very tiny kimchi, which I'm hoping doesn't mind being transplanted, very, very tiny. So that was the 8th of January that was sown. Okay, put that in. Right, now, the ones that didn't germinate. Now, interestingly, the ones that didn't come up were mostly these heritage organic seeds, but as you can see from the packets, that's because I've had them for a few years now, and they were on sale as well, so they were already the year before's seed when I bought them. So it wasn't that surprising that those didn't come up. But what I've done is I've now just sown everything that was left in the packet, and we'll see if any of them do come up, because some that I bought at the same time have come up in the other batch. The only one that's well, this is last year's seed. This is the Big Jim. That's the only one that didn't come up of my isotope chilies. So I'm going to give that another go. It may have been the case, because I'm trying to think now whether I remembered to sieve the soil when I first did the sowings, and I don't think I did. So the fact that I got as many as I did, 20 chilies when I didn't sieve the soil, I'm pretty happy with that. So I've just done 3 of them, and I've got Big Jim and Cayenne still to do. So I'll just change the sowing date on my labels, now the 1st of February. And Big Jim. So I've got a few of these. I'm going to go for all of them, because Big Jim didn't germinate last year either. And I am desperate to have this chili. So yeah, let's just do them all. And then Cayenne, let's see how many of these we've got left. I imagine not too many. Let's have a look. Oh no, actually quite a few. I'm going to be in trouble if all of these come up. space them out a little bit. So give them a little water to help the soil settle around the seeds. And then a topping of vermiculite to keep the moisture in. So they can go in there with the cucumbers, the tomatillos, and the Cape gooseberries. And these are staying here because these are sweet peppers and they have started coming up now, but they're not ready to pot on yet. Now, clearly things have got slightly out of hand around here. So I've got some trays of things that I want to do for my first sowings of February, which may not need heat. These don't need heat. These, I've got room, so I'm going to keep these on heat, the chilies that I've just pricked out, but I might raise them up a little bit because now that they are properly up, they don't need as much heat as when they're germinating. And what I don't want them is to get too humid and get any kind of dampening off or anything. Right, so I need to sort out this table, which means going to the back of the garden and finding some racking. So it's not the nicest thing to have this in my living room for like 3 or 4 months of the year, but I have cleaned it and I mean, it works so well. And these are new to me, these grow lights, these kind of little thin sort of thingy ones, but they're super bright and they're great because I don't actually have to suspend them because they can just sit on the racking above the trays. So I'm really happy with that. Obviously, it's not very full at the moment, but I've decided to just leave all the shelves in because it's going to fill up super quick now. There is lots to sow in February. I've got my chilies and peppers and aubergines all in the propagator still. This one is heated. This has the Cape gooseberries, some more of the chilies and the cucumber. This isn't heated because that's the onions and the lettuces and greens and things. But yeah, I'm really happy with that actually. Clearly it's taken me way longer than I thought it was going to do that. So I'm really ready for some breakfast now. Breakfast story? You've had yours. You've had yours. Now I thought for, seeing as we're doing a day in a life, you've got to include your meals, right? And I thought it would be a good way of showcasing how I'm still using the food that I grow even in the winter months. So obviously I didn't grow oats, but I did grow lots of summer berries. So I froze a lot of my berries in these hummus tubs, and I've got josta berries and loganberries and tayberries and raspberries. The blueberries, I don't think those are the ones that I grew, but they're in there too. And yeah, it's lovely to have that little bit of summer all through the winter too. Right then, so we've potted on the chilies. we'd sown more chilies. And the third thing on the list for indoors was luffa seeds. So I actually started my luffa seed yesterday. It's been soaking overnight. Now, I only did this pot to start with, and I nipped the edges of the seed casing to help with the germination and then popped them in the water for overnight. Now, Claire gave me this, well, she gave me the luffa that I got the seed out of, and I was talking to her last night, and she said, one, she hadn't nipped hers, she didn't feel it needed them, and secondly, they should be sinking and not floating on the top. All mine were floating on the top. So I was slightly worried. So I ended up getting another pot and not nipping or nicking these ones and just putting them into the water. And now, interestingly, most of those ones have now sank, but most of these ones are still floating. But what I'm going to do, because I sort of thought with these empty cells, I could put the luffas in those. That's a nice size to put the luffa seed in. But I'm going to end up maybe with half or none actually coming up. So instead, I'm going to chip them in some Tupperware with some kitchen paper. So they've done their overnight soak. So now they can just go into the Tupperware tub. Oh, wow. Look, actually, that one's already coming out. That's amazing. I think, or these ones that I nipped, I might put in a line on that side so that I know that those are the nipped ones. And then we can compare, oh dear, if these all grow, this is going to be excessive. Right, there we go. And they're all in. And then I'm just going to pop the paper over the top, put the lid on, and then I am going to put those on the heat. Right, chip luffas, done. Okay, right, I'm going to finish my breakfast and then time to go outside. So the dog has been walked. I came home and put my scruffs on, and then I've been in the garden for about an hour and a half. But I don't really have much to show you for that because all I've been doing is tidying. There was so much stuff just about, and you know how I'm really good at collecting things for the compost and putting it next to the compost heap, but not actually putting it in the compost heap. So I've been doing a bit of that as well. But I got to tick something off this to-do list. So one of the things that I thought would be a nice little job to do before lunch was take some of the greens that I've still got in cells and plug in some of the gaps that are in the winter salad bar. So the winter salad bar is looking really good. I'm really happy with it. We've got things like mizuna, we've got mustards, beetroots, all sorts of things. Little lamb's lettuce there. This is a mallow that's just self-seeded and kept going. But there's a real gap here. But with these gaps, I have got a tray, which seems to have this big brassica in. What's that? Look at that. That's lovely. I'm going to put that in. Let's put that right in the corner there. There we go. We'll see how that does. And then I've got, what's this one? Some of these are bolted, so I think they were pak choys. These ones I think are more of the miner's lettuce, which is also called winter purslane. That's it. So we'll get a few more of those in there. Winter purslane is supposed to really readily self-seed, and apparently once you sow it, you never get rid of it. But that does not seem to be the case with me. It never comes back, but it's super easy to grow. And I've done it in little clumps like this. And yeah, it makes a great little salad green. Now, it looks like this salad bar hasn't done much other than just kind of sit here since I planted it up in the late autumn. But that's the idea, really. Now that the days are starting to get longer, and there will be more light, these will burst into life, and this will be a blanket of green in not too long. So just yeah, making sure there are no gaps. Okay, great. That's all of those planted out now, and what's left in the tray is poached eggplant. So they will go out in the spring. Good, I can tick that off. So add greens to gaps, done. Compost, add, done. Clear up the back of the garden, done. See, I'm actually doing well. I've got fixed arches on here. You're probably sick of seeing me duck under those arches. I have just like pushed them back into the ground a little bit, but I have not secured them. Almost seems like there's no point because we're just having storm after storm after storm. And it's like, well, I'll just deal with all the damage together in the spring. So I've fixed them enough that I can get by them. So I'm going to tick that off. I have got the prune raspberries, which is the front garden job. But at the top of the list was plant rose. So you might remember that I treated myself to a new David Austin rose just before Christmas. It's called Summer Song, and oh my God, that colour. Now I haven't put it in yet, and now it's the time to plant roses. To be fair, roses that are grown in the tubs, or you buy them in the tubs, you can plant them at any time. But this is a good time to be planting roses. It's looking fine. Look, we've got some nice growth. Oh, a little bit of black spot. Might nip those leaves off. But I need to first figure out where I want to put it, and I kind of feel like I want to put it next to my other David Austin rose, which is just here. Well, I can't plant it right away now anyway, because I need to soak the plant, so it needs to be well watered before it goes in. So I think I'll do is I'll stick this in a bucket of water and have lunch, and we can think about it. Okay? Now, this isn't the most exciting lunch in the world. I'm just having my leftover pasta from last night. But what I thought I would add to it is my fermented cherry tomatoes. So if I lift out the weight, there we go. Oh, wow, you can really smell them in a good way. So there's one there. How lovely does that look? So that's going to be one of the sun gold or one of the honeycomb. And the key is just to keeping everything under the brine, and then it doesn't spoil. You might see a little bit of white, but that's just cam yeast. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, the trick is, you see how everything floats? So you've got to keep it under the water, and that's why you need the weight. So if I put the weight back in, pushes everything back below the surface of the brine. And then the lid can go back on, and it can go back in the fridge, and they'll continue to be fine. Right, let's just test one together then. Let's have one of the yellow ones there. So I think this is honeycomb. Here we go. I don't know. That is so much flavour as a burst of brine. Let me try one of the red ones. Oh, that was better. That was lovely. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't taste like a tomato. Don't think you're going to get, you know, that fresh tomato flavour that you would have in the summer. But it's definitely zingy. It's really zingy. That one was really good too. Quite fizzy as well, which might not be to everybody's taste, but that's one way of preserving your tomatoes. Right, I'm going to eat lunch, then we'll get back to the to-do list. So I can't think of anywhere else for this rose to go, so it's going here. I'm just clearing the area of brambles. Look at the root on that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, look at that. Anyway, clear the way. And then I'm going to dig a hole that needs to be slightly bigger than this root ball. So it's got to be quite deep. They do put these roses in very deep. Now I do need to prune this rose, and maybe think about how I'm staking it. But I think probably here's the best place for this one. Oh, I might disturb some spring bulbs while I'm doing this, I think. Oh well, needs must. Oh, hitting something. What's that? Oh, hello. There seems to be a paving stone under here or something. Can I get that out? Let's have a sec. There we go. Oh my goodness. Maybe there was a path here at some point. That's a big slab there. Just gonna water the planting hole. There is a bit of slab there. Look how much the ground has come up over them though. Now while that water's sinking in, and while I can get to the shed because I've actually cleared the way to it, I think I'm going to harvest a few more of these Jerusalem artichoke tubers. Let's go for this one over here. I don't know if I have these for dinner tonight or tomorrow, but there we go. I think I've got as well 2 different varieties of Jerusalem artichoke in here. I noticed last time I harvested some. Oh my goodness, these are lovely. That some are redder than others and a slightly different shape, like more round rather than long. So yeah, 2 different varieties. Who knew? Oh, a forked one. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, you can see here actually. So you see that one is like a yellow colour and quite long. And then that one is much reddier and more of a bulbous one. So yeah, anyway, that'll be enough. Right, the water still hasn't drained, so I'm taking this opportunity, I'm keeping this momentum going by coming out into the front garden and showing you the job that I want to do here, which I can't remember if I've already said now, was prune the raspberries. Now these are summer fruiting raspberries, but I wasn't sure. They came from my cousin's garden, and so I had to leave it kind of a year to double check what they were, because she had both autumn fruiting and summer fruiting in her garden. Anyway, I have since confirmed they are summer fruiting. So what I need to do is just take out the 2-year-old canes. So the canes that grew last year are the canes that will be fruiting, so they need to stay, but any that are older than that can now come off. Now obviously as a space this looks rather messy, but there is method behind the madness. So I've left a lot of the tall dead plant material for insects to overwinter in, but you can see the new life at the bottom. So the hollyhock there, we've got new growth at the base of that plant. Now what should be here and looking glorious is this absolutely huge Tortondine kale, but as you can see it got completely eaten by caterpillars, just stripped the whole thing. But the new growth is reappearing in the center. So at some point I'm going to cut off all of these stalks so the new growth can just come through, which is lovely. And speaking of perennials, this is my perennial elephant garlic coming up. So although the garlic is yet to come up in the back garden, this is a bulb of elephant garlic that I just left in the ground, and it will shoot, and the whole bulb should then make a whole load of other elephant garlic bulbs. And what looks like a clump of grass here is also garlic. So I pulled a bit up the other day, and yeah, there was a clove at the base of it. And this was from my cousin's garden as well. And yeah, it just keeps growing. Yeah, like a perennial garlic. And it's always lovely to see the first signs of the spring bulbs. So the tulips just coming up there. But no time to dilly-dally. I need to figure out which of these I need to take down. Actually, it's not that hard to see. So these ones, these really big ones, are the lovely new canes. but I can see shorter and much more, ow, they're a bit spiky as well, much more dead looking are the old ones. So there shouldn't be too many of these because it was still a young canes. There we go. Right, this water still hasn't drained and I'm conscious of time because it's 3:15 now. We need to get to the plot and I need to walk one of my neighbour's dogs and she said 3 o'clock. So Dory, we need to hotfoot it. We need to go get Ben. Should we go see Ben? Okay. Yeah, I think everything takes twice as long when you're filming, isn't it, as well? So anyway, I'm going to leave the rose. If we've got light when I get back, we'll finish that off. But right now, let's go get Ben and head to the plot, Dory. Right, back to one dog on the plot. Also got a Mark on the plot who's doing some burning, so we've got a little bonfire going as well. But what I've brought down is the broad fork and a bag of bark, and I wanted to carry on some work on the fruit tree guild. Now this didn't get rotivated because it was full of strawberries. So what I thought I would do before I start putting some more of the plants in here, like the raspberries and the currants, and moving some of the other strawberries in here as well, is give it a broad fork. And then I'm going to knock in the little drawers that I've put around the tree and put some of the bark in there. So that's just to protect around the very base of the tree so weeds aren't growing right where the roots are. So that's the plan. It's already, what time is it, Mark? It's already 4:15, so we're not going to have much light to do this. But if I can get that one job ticked off, I think I'll be quite happy. So Dory's got a coat on to keep warm because it's got really cold now, but this will warm me up. I mean, you saw me try and do the rotivating, and it was hard work. And I think I said at the time, this is why I'm no dig. This is why I would prefer to broad fork. It's still hard work broad forking though, especially when the soil is wet and heavy and clay. But yeah, I think it would have been a lot harder to try and dig that over. I know I've disturbed the strawberry plants quite a bit, but strawberries are shallow rooted and I think they're basically weeds, aren't they? So I think they will be fine. And I need to sort out those strawberries anyway, and the strawberries that are in these beds here, because yeah, I don't want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beds of strawberries. So right, wood chip now. Right, so I've put the little drawer around there. I'm just gonna like fix it in a bit more. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. And then I need some wood chip. I'm opening this bag of wood chip, Mark. You need to pan. Oh. Right, I'm just gonna put some into there. I don't want to step on what I've just broad forked now, but I think I'll have to. Oh, perhaps I should have done this first. Oh, because it's right over there. Let me drag this over. There we go. That looks nice. There we go. Look good, Mark?
It's
interesting.
It's a draw, isn't it?
All upcycling, Mark. That's what it is.
Upcycling.
You love my upcycling. Hoarding, yeah. Not if you actually use the thing, then it's not hoarding. Then you were right all along. It did have a purpose.
Put herbs in with your fruit guild. What are the best herbs to?
Well, I'm a bit unsure because you've got a load of herbs right there.
They're mine.
Don't forget we share a plot, Mark. Obviously, this is Fruit Guild 2.0. So we had one on the old plot, but it didn't quite go to plan. Never really met its potential.
I don't think you had the draws, did you? I think that's what's going to make it this year. Sure.
It might be. This one's not going in as well.
What's the purpose of the draws?
Just to keep, because these strawberries are going to spread everywhere, which is partly the point. They're the ground cover, but I don't want them too close to the roots of the trees because these are new trees and they need to establish, so I don't want the roots competing too much. I just want all the things around the trees supporting their growth, bringing in pollinators and predators, and yeah, just generally lots of health and life in the soil. Oh, no, we're going to have a little impromptu interview in my day in the life of vlog. There we go. Oh, I'm well happy with that. Good job, Dory. Good job. Ah, let's go home.
Good. Here she is.
You're in my way.
Haggard. Are you going to sign out the fans?
No, because we've still got to go home and put a rose in the ground. In the dark, by the light of the security lamp. Good filming, Mark. Well done. So I'm back from the plot. I'm out of my scruffs and I've got a glass of wine. So there ain't no rose planting happening. I've been outside, the water is still in the hole. So yeah, I'm gonna have to wait until the morning to plant the rose. Plus it's proper dark out there now. The only thing I wanted to say about planting the rose is that I will put a bit of compost in the bottom of the hole, but not a lot, because what I want is the roots to push out and establish. But what I will put on the roots is some of the mycorrhizal fungi, so that it helps the roots make those nice relationships with the things that are already in the soil to hopefully make a really beautiful rose. So I can sort of half tick off plant rose, but yeah, I'll definitely finish that. We did prune the raspberries. We didn't harvest the rest of the ocker. or look at the first early potatoes. So maybe we'll do those next week. But we've got the artichokes. They still need a good clean. But everything else we did that we were supposed to do for the garden. Now the allotment, we did broad fork the fruit tree grilled, but we didn't get to put in the raspberries. I did water some of the polytunnel. I did take down the rabbit poop. I didn't check the spring bulbs, and I didn't transplant any strawberries, but actually none of that is particularly time sensitive. So I guess the next part of my day is baking my bread and making some dinner. So I've got the artichokes. I brought down one of the stored pumpkins. I actually think this Crown Prince is one from Claire, so thank you. I think I'm going to make some kind of nice big chunky soup or stew that I can have with my nice fresh bread. Now, while I'd love to have you stay and cook dinner with me, I am shattered. Yeah, I'll leave you with a shot of whatever I come up with for this little lot, and I'm going to head upstairs and take a well-deserved bath. Thank you for spending the day with me. I hope to see you next week.